Everyone, even though it's delayed, we got here in the end. So welcome to everybody. I'd just like to welcome some honorary guests. The Honourable Dr. Tony Booty, MLA, Minister for Finance, Land, Sport, Recreation, Citizen and Multicultural Interest. The Honourable Bill Johnson, MLA, Honourable Minister for Mines, Petroleum, Energy and Corrective Services. Chris Talentone, Member for Thornley and the AAA Ambassador. Terry Healy, MLA, Member for Southern River. His Excellency the Consul General David Gaynor. Miss Pat Morris, AM, JP, Freeman for the City of Gosnells, and of course, AAA Ambassador. I'd also like to welcome James from the Office of Multicultural Interest, Acting Executive Director, Senior Sergeant Matt Sharp, Staff Officer, Assistant Commissioner Metropolitan Region for Western Australian Police Force, and of course Saeed Pasha, Senior Policy Advisor for Citizenship and Multicultural Interests. Welcome to them and to every single one of you for coming here today. Okay, now I'd like to ask Mr. Chris Talentone, MLA, Member for Thornley, to acknowledge our country speech, please.
Thank you, Amal, and a big Eid Mubarak, Assalamu alaikum to everyone. And if I can though, acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we meet on by saying Kaya, Wanju Wanju, Nija Nunga Buja, acknowledging that this is Noongar land and this beautiful country. The traditional custodians have looked upon it, looked after it for so many years, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Ladies and gentlemen, this event has a very important public health message. You've already seen the Livelighter message, all about healthy eating, looking after yourself, good fitness regimes and a great healthy lifestyle that we can enjoy in Western Australia is there for all of us to grab. But in 2021, today, there is an even bigger public health message that we all have to adhere to. And we've got it here for you, and that is COVID-19 vaccination. Please do use the opportunity with the people who we've got here at the school, the COVID-19 vaccination school. Use the opportunity to book in and make a reservation to go and get your shots, your jabs. Do that, please. Now, I do have some acknowledgements of my elected colleagues to make as well, and I will finish by the man who I'm going to introduce. But first of all, I want to acknowledge especially Pat Morris, the AAA Australian Arab Association Ambassador and Freeman of the City of Gosnells, and David Gaynor, who is the Consul General for the United States, to Bill Johnson, who is the Minister for Energy and Mines and Member for Cannington, and to Sarah Sabiri, Councillor at the City of Canning, and now to the man who I'm going to introduce, the Honourable Tony Booty, who is our new Minister for Multicultural Interests. And Tony is a man of many talents. He's a marathon runner. I think he's one of only about 3 members of any parliament across Australia who's completed a Ironman event. He's a published author, writing on works as diverse as the Nickelbergs, Sir Ronald Wilson, and he's about to release, I think, one of his perhaps proudest works about his daughter Alkira. Tony is a man who is passionate and equal to the challenges of this wonderful portfolio of multicultural interests. Tony Booty, if you could come forward please to address us. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. I've never had an introduction like that. I don't know if I can live up to the challenges. So, to Chris Talentone, the member for Authority, thank you very much, and I think a round of applause for that inspirational speech. Chris obviously did acknowledgement of all the VIPs that are here, so I won't repeat that. I do want to, of course, acknowledge my parliamentary colleagues, the Honourable Bill Johnson, Minister for Mines, Minister for Energy and Minister for Correctional Services, and of course the member for Cannington. Also Terry Healy, the member for Southern River, who is somewhere around the place. And also David Gaynard, the Consul General of the USA, and everyone else that's here. Look, if you look behind me, you can see a number of flags, and that really attests to the diversity of this fantastic multicultural event that we're having here today. So it's absolutely fantastic when we can have people of such diverse backgrounds coming together to celebrate many different aspects of their culture, which of course includes beautiful food, clothing, amusements, and of course a camel ride, which I had my first one not so long ago. Chris made mention of the vaccination registry tent that's been run by the Department of Health to my left, behind me. That is an incredibly important stall at this festival today. We had a meeting this week with the Premier, the Honourable Mark McGowan, and also the Deputy Premier and the Health Minister, the Honourable Roger Cook, and Dr. Andy Robinson, the Chief Health Officer, and members of the Ministerial Multicultural Advisory Council to talk about vaccination rates in our diverse, culturally diverse communities. We need to improve. It is people are becoming complacent. We live in the best jurisdiction in the world as far as not having transmission of COVID-19, but we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared, and the only way we can be prepared is to ensure that we are vaccinated. So please, people, make sure you register to be vaccinated and ensure that you get vaccinated as soon as possible. It could not be more important to your health, your children's health, your family, and to the community of Western Australia. And on that, on the aspect of COVID-19, from the Premier, from the Cabinet, from the whole Parliament, thank you to every single one of you who have helped make us a safe community that we are at the moment. We only are safe because we have strong leadership, but the community have brought in to the need to comply with the health regulations during this COVID-19 period. So thank you very, very much. Now what we need is for you to, of course, get vaccinated. Enjoy yourself at this fantastic multicultural festival. It's at least the 17th time this has been held. I know it should have been held some time ago, but due to other commitments at the venue, it couldn't be. This is a beautiful location. And also, I should, of course, acknowledge the traditional owners, which I forgot to do at the beginning. The Wajaki of the Noongar Nation pay respect to the elders, past, present, and emerging. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you from the Premier of Western Australia and the whole Government of Western Australia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your kind words, and Chris, thank you. Now I'd like to ask the Honourable Bill Johnson, MLA, Minister for Mines, Petroleum, Energy, Correctional Services, to come up and say a few words, please.
Well, thanks very much. I'm very pleased to be back here with the Australian Arab Association and among so many friends. And I begin by acknowledging that we meet on the traditional lands of the Noongar people, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I want to acknowledge my parliamentary colleagues, Tony Buddy, Terry Healy, and particularly Chris Talentine. And I know how deeply involved Chris is with his multicultural community in Thornley, and I really appreciate the work that he puts in on behalf of his community. Also want to acknowledge Pat Morris, such a wonderful person and ambassador for the Australian Arab Association. And I particularly want to pay respect to David Gaynor, the Consul General of the United States, who is so frequently at these community events. I just looked up on Wikipedia. There are more Arabs living in the United States than in Bahrain, and almost the same number as live in Kuwait. So it shows the the fact that the United States, like Australia, is a multicultural country, and David Gaynor does a great job on behalf of the people of the United States in engaging with multicultural communities across Western Australia. It's always great fun to be here at this event every year. Arab Australians are playing a great role in this, and look, here's my good friend and our local member for this area, Hannah Deasley, also joining us right now. The Australian Arab Association plays a great role in bringing together people from across the Arab community with other parts of the community here in Western Australia to provide an opportunity for us to all mix and share in our events like this. It's really tremendous to see the continued growth of the event and how many people without an Arab heritage come and join us as well. So thank you all very much. I'm really pleased to be here, and I hope to be able to talk to many of you today. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for your kind words, Minister. I'd just like to remind everybody that COVID-19 is around, but thankfully we don't have it in WA. Yay for Mark McGowan. Now, today we have a stall which can organise your vaccine shots. If you want to make an appointment and you want to stay safe, please go ahead and see the lovely ladies and make an appointment, because believe me, you have it, you're safe. You don't have it, we don't know what's going to happen. Thank you. Unfortunately, we were having, there's performance delay due to the traffic. They are coming, so bear with us, because once they get through those gates, they'll be asking you to perform. So I just hope everyone is having a good time. Are we having a good time? I can't hear you. I hope you are all having a good time. Please go around, get yourself some food, sit down. We will have more performance coming up. But in the meantime, I'd like to ask His Excellency Consular General David Gaynor to come up and just say a few words.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. Pay my respects to their elders past and present. Would like to also acknowledge all the dignitaries and friends of the U.S. Consulate, Minister Booty, Minister Johnson, Hannah Beasley, Chris Palantire, and all the organizers here today as well too. And also Amal, who does a fantastic job every time in this wonderful event. I'll keep my remarks very brief, and just really want to say two things. First and foremost, I talk to people around the world all the time, and we are really in probably the safest, most special place in the world right now. And so I'd like to thank the WA government. I'd like to thank all of us for keeping us safe, because most of the world is still struggling with COVID. So if I can encourage everyone, I've gotten the vaccine, but I encourage everyone, please take a few minutes, doesn't take long, get yourself an appointment and go get vaccinated. Second, another reason why we are in one of the most special places in the world is because of Australia's diversity and its focus on making and creating a multicultural society. When I was young, when I thought of Australia, I thought of the outback, kangaroos, Crocodile Dundee, and Foster's Lager. It's a very different place, thankfully, from all of those images. And I've lived here twice. I've lived in Melbourne about 15 years ago, and now I'm in the best city in the best state in Australia, in Perth WA. And what makes it unique and special is its diversity. I really do believe that Australia, like the United States, gets its strength from its diversity. And we need to celebrate that diversity, which is why it's so special to be at the Australian Arab Festival. And I will always come many times because of the wonderful work and the celebration of, as Mr. Bucci said, all the flags behind us. But in this time where it's so easy to be divisive, we need to look at our commonalities and celebrate our diversity. So thank you for inviting me, and please go get vaccinated.
Thank you. Now I'd like to ask Member for Perth, Mr. Matt Keogh, to come up and say a few words and give us a few laughs, Matt.
Good afternoon, everybody. Amal asked me to give you a few laughs, so look at this amazing jacket. How good is it? My name is Matt Keogh. I'm the federal member for Perth, which means I am the federal member of parliament that is blessed to have the Australian Arab Association headquartered in my electorate, and it is a huge honour for me to be able to say that. And for that reason, and because of the great work that they do, I'm always a great champion for their work, both here in Western Australia, but to all of my federal colleagues. I do want to say that I of course acknowledge that we're here on the banks of the Derbarl Yarragon, on the traditional land of the Whadjuk people of the Great Noongar Nation of southwestern Australia, and pay my respects to their elders past and present, and acknowledge all of the dignitaries that we have here today with us. I know the Minister for Energy, Bill Johnson's been with us. We've got Chris Talentire, the member for Thornley. We've got Hannah Beasley, the member for Victoria Park. We have the US Consul General, which is amazing to have with us. We've got so many councillors as well, and our amazing organising committee and volunteers from the Australian Arab Association. You can see them all wearing their high-vis as they're walking around, and events like this don't happen without the amazing volunteers behind making it come together. People like Amal, who's been in front of you, people like Sam, all of the committee, but all of these guys and girls that are walking around in their high-vis are what make it happen. I really want to acknowledge their hard work. We as a nation wouldn't be the nation that we are without organisations like the AAA, which bring together community, bring together cultures that have come from overseas to Australia and celebrate them. Give us an opportunity for the whole country, all of our community here in Perth to come together, to acknowledge each other, to share in culture, to understand each other better, and to continue to celebrate the cultures that we are. And that is so important, because we're not about making everybody the same, we're about celebrating our difference, learning from one another, and it's that rich tapestry that is created by celebrating all of our different cultures together that makes Australia the successful, vibrant nation that it is. And that's why I'm so proud always to be able to come to this event, and I've seen it grow over many, many years, and it gets bigger and bigger, and it's so great to see so many people coming along. But it's why I'm so happy to be able to support the AAA, to support events like this, and I look forward to continuing to do so for many, many years to come. And can I also just finally acknowledge how lucky we are here in Western Australia to have a strong McGowan government that has kept us safe here, has meant that we can have events like this where crowds are able to come together, that we're able to celebrate as community. Because we know that on other parts of Australia and in other parts of the world, it is just not safe to do what we're doing now, and we're so fortunate to be able to celebrate safely together, and I want to acknowledge that too. A big shout out to the AAA once again, and thank you everybody who's come along today, because it's by participating, sharing, celebrating, meeting with one another and having dialogue, watching all of the displays that are up here on the stage, sharing in the food, that makes this event a success. Thank you so much.
You know, look, I don't think there's anything wrong with this jacket. I think it's quite nice. Seriously. Yeah, who agrees with me? I think it's quite nice. Anyhow, I would like to ask Hannah Beasley, MLA, member for Vic Park, just to say a few words, since this is her area. So welcome your member.
Thank you everybody. Thank you for coming down here today. What a perfectly beautiful Gilda Day here down on the Derby Yarragon. So thank you all for joining the Australian Arab Association and celebrating our incredible multicultural diversity and strengths. Thank you on behalf of myself and the community of Victoria Park to the Australian Arab Association and Sam and Amal for hosting it here on our patch. We are very grateful to have you. I am so pleased that you are here, and I'm so pleased that you are here in general. There is nothing that gives our community more strength than the diversity which we are celebrating here today. So thank you for bringing your culture to the rest of us and sharing it amongst the many cultures here in Western Australia, because we would not be where we are without you. I am very lucky in terms of my history in this area goes back since before Perth was a penal colony. So I've been lucky enough to be born and bred here, whereas so many of you and your families have chosen to make Perth and Western Australia your home, and we are all the better for it. You have my unreserved thanks for doing so, because we just wouldn't be the same without it. And thank you so much. It's wonderful particularly to see all the children here today. I have two, have brought my son David, who loves learning about all the people that he goes to school with, everyone he goes around to have dinner with, and all the different foods and things, which are a little bit different to the chops and mash that we commonly have at home. So I appreciate that very much, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day and evening down here on the banks of the river today. My son and I were just looking for oyster shells down on the river that, if you didn't know, according to the Watch Up people here, those oyster shells are actually the scales of the rainbow serpent who made this river. So if you see any oyster shells down on the foreshore, that is what they are, and you can tell your kids that they are the scales of the rainbow serpent. So thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you for having me and inviting me to say a few words also. Thanks so much.
Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to say happy Eid Adha to everyone here. I'm so glad to see so many people here today. Also a bit scared being up here and talking. I actually think we were really lucky to have this event postponed, because we can take advantage of this wonderful weather. I want to give a big shout out to Sam and Amal, a strong Arab woman who's put so much effort into taking leadership and organizing this event today. I also want to remind everyone here that the local government elections are coming up, and although it's not compulsory to vote, it is an important part of government, and it's so important for you guys to familiarize yourself with the candidates and see what they're about and what their values are, and make sure you do vote. Thank you for having me. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for that. Okay.
For me to be with you today. I've had a connection with the AAA for about 15 years, and what I would like to say is our sincere thanks to all the volunteers, all the young people. They are absolutely to be proud of, and the organisation that's brought about this magnificent day again today, one of many that I've been to over all of the years. The AAA has families all over the metropolitan area that come together, all the young people that volunteer, getting everything here that's organised today. It's something that I'm immensely proud of to be part of, and to be their ambassador for Western Australia. My sincere thanks to everybody who has come along today, and I know that you would have had a wonderful day, so thank you.
Thank you, Pat.